Hi, I'm Brooke. Welcome to my channel. Today, I want to talk about connecting to someone on the other side, connecting to a loved one who has passed on. And I want to start out by saying that I am not a medium or a psychic or anything like that. I started out in life very non-spiritual, agnostic, and then things started to happen and open up. And this was an experience that I had that really surprised me. It was a really beautiful experience. And so my hope in sharing these videos is to help open people up. I know I was not open to these things, and then little by little I've opened. So if you're someone like me who's a lot of people, it's like since they've been a kid, they've been very open. But if you're someone who's starting to open up a little later in life, welcome. And if you're someone who's been open up the whole time and you just want to have a listen, welcome. And if you have some stories to share, I would love to hear them. Please leave a comment. Please like and subscribe if you like the content. And this is a story that's a very special one for me. And before I share it, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm an artist, I'm a fine art photographer. I am sitting in my art gallery in Manhattan Beach, California. These are some of my pieces behind me. And if you would like to check out some of my artwork, then I will leave a link in the description to my website and to my Instagram. My art focuses on day-to-day simple pleasures, just enjoying the moment that's in front of you. It's also very colorful and lively. So if you like that kind of thing, check it out. Okay, so I had this amazing experience, and there's two facets to it that I think are really interesting. So, number one, um, growing up, my parents divorced when I was a baby, and I grew up with step parents, and I was very close with my stepfather. He was a wonderful man. Him and I had just had from the beginning a really strong connection, and I adored him, and he passed. When I was in college. And so, he had had lung cancer and it was a whole grueling experience and it was definitely a loss. And so there was two things that happened. The first, I don't know if I was ready, I would say, for communication, but the first time I think that I actually heard from him, uh, it was a few years after he had passed. I was living in a place that had a loft, and that's where I had my office space up in the loft. And I had on a low shelf a bunch of picture frames, and there was a picture of him and I, this little cute little frame, little picture, and it was among all the other pictures. And I was downstairs. I don't know, I hadn't been upstairs in hours, like hadn't been up there, nothing was touched, right? And I was downstairs in the kitchen and I heard something fall upstairs. So I go upstairs and the picture of him and I was on the floor, but nothing else was moved. I kept trying to make an explanation, like maybe there was like a mouse or something, but it's like then everything would be moved around, right? It was just that one picture on the floor. And for a moment, I was like, is that, is he here? Is like what's going on? But I just kind of let that go. Although, I always thought about it. And then, cut to many years later, I started to open up to all of these experiences and possibilities and, the mystical and the other side and all of that. And so one night, and it's interesting if you watch a couple of other my videos too, there's a lot of stuff that comes through my body. I do believe that my belief now is that sickness and health is not what we think it is, that our body is just trying to give us messages. And a lot of messages come through the body, and oftentimes we medicate and do other things, just because that's what we're told or that's what we believe as a society. But for me, every time I listen to my body, information comes and then there's a shift. So as I've said before in my other videos, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice, and you should definitely always do what feels good to you. I, on the other hand, I've had so many of these, not this particular type of experience with connecting to the other side, but I've had so many experiences where my body has given me information. So now I'm used to communicating with my body in this way. Um, so, um, so basically so one night it was during, sorry, I was trying to put it all together. So it was during 2020, COVID, lockdown, all of that. And I uh I was home and I had this ringing in my ear and it was very strong. It was like really loud, really consistent, and honestly a little painful. And I got really scared because I thought, well, is it tinnitus or what's going on? But it was late at night, and as it is, it was like during the beginning of all of that where like nothing is open. But I thought, okay, look, it's the middle of the night. I'm not gonna go to the hospital. Like if it I could go to the doctor in the morning if I really need to. And but I had just started to meditate. I had found Dr. Joe Dispenza. I started to meditate. I found Abraham Hicks. I started to um did the meditations they recommend of like listening to white noise, right? And so I thought to myself, it's a very consistent sound. What if I meditate to the sound? It was so consistent, right? And so loud and so present. So I thought, all right, I mean, what else am I going to do right now, right? There's really nothing to do. So I lied down, closed my eyes, and I just focused on the sound. And within a short amount of time, I started to see a picture of a man and a woman in sunglasses. And it was really clear, kept coming through. Is really like a sharp image. And I recognized the image. My stepfather, sorry, my nose is itching. Maybe I think that could be my stepfather with me, maybe, I don't know, but it just came in really strong. Um, okay, now I'm focused on it. Okay. So so I recognized the image. My stepfather, he had a chain of eyeglass stores. And this picture was a Calvin Klein ad, a man and woman, sunglasses, really serious. And it was hanging in one of his stores. I used to go there after school and I would always stare at this poster. And boom, I instant like as I once I realized that's what it was, I instantly, I mean, I just knew I could feel his presence. And then I saw an image of me as a little girl, except it was almost like a cartoon version. It was like so exaggerated, like big eyes, like almost like an anime, like so cute. And and I could feel this feeling that he was showing me this is how he sees me, right? This cute little girl with like these big eyes and just curly hair and like just so cute, right? And I could just feel it. I could just feel the way he saw me or sees me. I could feel the love and like it was just it was so wonderful. And once I fully sort of accepted that, the image, him, the feeling, the ringing in my ear went away just like that. It just went away. And it was amazing. I mean, I was crying. It was so beautiful to connect. And I just had this incredible connection and this feeling. And so, number one, connection is possible, even if you're not psychic, even if you've never done anything like that before. I certainly had not. Um, and and I've had connections since then, like a lot of dreams where he comes to talk to me. And it's just great. It just feels great because I just love him and I'm just so happy to have the connection ongoing. And the other part of this is what I think is interesting. If you have something going on in your body. And I've talked about this, I think, in other videos, or if I haven't, I'll say it now. Um, you can listen, you can ask. Like even like that was a sound, so I listened, but there's a listening, meaning like you can ask your body, is there a message? And just sit and focus on the area that I usually you'll get an answer. I would say you're always getting an answer. It's just a question of tuning in, of allowing the information to come through. So that is a possibility. And I'm not saying that this is the only time where like someone else came through. Usually it's just me communicating with me. But I was surprised at what happened. And I've said this before too, I think, where, I think it's just good to be open. Not everything is what we're told that it is. And something like that, like it really, I'm sure if I would have gone to the ear doctor, they would have said tinnitus. I would have had to be on medication or whatever. And yet that's not what it was, right? It was a communication. And it's just, if you can, right, stop and take a beat and take a breath and listen to your body and be willing to receive information, you might be surprised. Again, you have to do what you have to do. If you have a belief system that says I have to go to the doctor or whatever, then you got to honor that. But maybe just be willing to let yourself know that there are other options, that maybe if you find yourself able to listen and take a beat, if it's not an emergency, like with that, it was the middle of the night. It's like, well, what am I going to do? Right? I'm not going to go to the doctor right now. I would have had to have gone to the emergency room. And it wasn't an emergency, but it was very uncomfortable. If it had been during the day, I probably would have gone. But because it was at night, it was kind of like, well, I'm not going to do anything about it right now, so I can stop and listen. So if you have the opportunity where you feel like you can do that, I highly recommend it. You might have this, like what happened to me was a really beautiful experience, and I'm so happy that it happened. And bonus, I don't have to go through something with someone poking stuff in my ear. And what's also really funny, I just realized, or I just remembered, um, and this is how perfect everything is. My stepfather had always ringing in his ears. He was always going to the doctor, always getting him his ears drained and stuff. So of course, like that would be how they came in, right? That was like a thing that he had constant. He was probably getting communication and he didn't realize it. Um, anyways, to me, it was just like one of the most beautiful things. And some of these things that we are scared of, or we want so badly, like get rid of it. It might actually have something to share with you, something that you might like, something that might be beautiful, something that might be amazing. If we can take a minute, breathe, relax, and not judge it and not be scared, something might come through that might surprise you and you might enjoy it. At least, I have found this to be true. And I've tested it out now quite a bit. So that's my story, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please share if you have a story, and see you in the next video. Okay.